Hey guys, welcome back. This is part 2 of my 27th birthday special. As you can see, I really haven't moved my Genesis with the power base converter. I haven't moved it since shooting my last video. But as you can tell, I've got a lot of... As you can tell, I'm going to show you that that's really just the beginning of my next big Sega collection. I have not one, but 2 3D controllers for the Sega Saturn. The one on the right is a North American controller, while the one here, the white one, is one on the left, is a Japanese Sega Saturn 3D controller. The nice thing is, it will work on an American system. Now, for those who don't know how a Sega Saturn 3D controller works, it's very simple enough. The big thing really is the switch at the very bottom. As you can see, you have 2 shapes. You have the cross shape here. You have the cross, and you have a circle. As you can see, the switch is pointed to the circle. Now, it's like, alright, why is that? What do these shapes mean? Well, the cross is for the D-pad. It's a cross shape, pretty much, essentially. The one on the right, as you can imagine, is the shape of the joystick. Now, now I gotta tell you, this is just a beautiful... Just holding this thing it's great. It feels really comfortable. As a matter of fact, I can imagine just by looking at the controllers as well as the Dreamcast controller. Let's actually put these side by side. As you can see, the 3D controller for the Sega Saturn certainly played a really big part in the design of the Dreamcast controller. Everything is just about in its same position. The start button, the D-pads, the analog stick, the shoulder buttons. If there's really one difference between the Saturn controller and the Dreamcast controller, it's that, even there's no Z or C button on the Dreamcast controller, but the AB button, the A and B buttons, and the X and Y buttons, they're in their positions haven't changed. So although the Dreamcast does lack a C button and a Z button, it has the window for the visual memory units. But I just wanted to show you guys that I have a 3D controller for the Sega Saturn. It's much more difficult than you think. They go for quite a bit. They're very coveted collector's items, especially the Japanese version. So I feel very proud to own this and this. So the next thing I wanted to show you guys is what's called the Master Gear Converter. It's an accessory that lets you play Master System games, such as this, on your Game Gear. Now, I don't know if it'll play F-16 Fighting Falcon. I know F-16 Fighting Falcon came on a card. I don't know if it comes on a cartridge, let alone if it'll play in the Master Gear Converter. But if it does, I can certainly play F-16 Fighting Falcon on the Game Gear. If anyone wants to comment on whether or not it'll play F-16 Fighting Falcon on your Game Gear, let me know. Let me know if it does or it doesn't. Now, now I'm going to get very serious now. As I said in one of my last videos, if there are 2 Sega platforms that I do not own, they are the SG-1000 and the Sega Pico. Well, although I still don't have a Pico system or a or a SG-1000 system, that doesn't mean I don't have games for it. In fact, let me show you. I have Tales in the Music Maker for the Sega Pico. It comes with the box and the cartridge. It does not come with the instructions, but let's take this out. So there it is. And for those who want an idea as to how big a Sega Saturn how big a Sega Pico cartridge really is, let me put my hand right here. It's about as big as my hand. Sonic does make a cameo appearance on the last page, but all the other pages have just Tales only. So let's put this back in here. And let's take the other game that I have, the Sega Pico, out. Let me get the instruction booklet. I have Sonic the Hedgehog's Game World as well for the Sega Pico. So it has some really nice stuff in here. What's really nice about Sonic Game World compared to Tales in the Music Maker, Sonic the Hedgehog's Game World is plays more like a typical run-of-the-mill everyday video game, whereas Tales in the Music Maker is merely just an educational device. Sonic the Hedgehog's Game World really teaches youngsters how to, basically hand-eye coordination skills, from what I heard. And I'm going to say this: once I get my hands on a Sega Pico system, I'm certainly going to play as Amy Rose. She's as some of you may well know, she's a big favorite of mine. But that's not all I have to show you. That's not all I have to show you. Let's put this here. Let's take this out. Whoa, goodness. Sorry. Let's put this down for a moment. Come on. There you go. There's that. Put this here. And I'm going to show you guys that I have another Sonic the Hedgehog's Game World. It's like, why'd you get two? Well, the real question is, why did I get not one, but two copies of the Japanese version of Sonic the Hedgehog's Game World? One actually has the Sega seal for it. The other doesn't, but apart from that, everything is complete. Both versions come complete. They come with the case. They come with the case, they come with the game, they come with the instruction booklet. Both versions come complete. If you don't believe me, that's the one I showed you. Here's the other one that I showed you. And that version comes complete as well. Well, here's what happened. I ordered the first one. This one, it took a while just to arrive. I thought it was never going to arrive. That's actually why I bought this copy as well. And I thought, well, you know what? If both copies of the game come in, I can certainly treat them as spares. So, in case you're asking, no, I can't sell these. These mean a lot to me. Big collection, and that So having these mean just quite a bit. So I just wanted to let you know. Now I'm sure some of you may be asking, how much did I get these for? I got these for about $100 each. I got this one for $100. I chose a slower shipping method. This one, however, I used airmail. So I spent another $20 on it. So $124 on this copy, including $20 for shipping. And all in all, I spent, gosh, I want to say $230 on both copies. But I spent a lot less on one more thing I have to show you guys. Speaking of Japanese versions, I do have another Japanese game. And although I don't have the system to play it on, as I mentioned, I do have a very important game. I have a game for the SG-1000 called Girls' Garden. It may not be a Sonic game, but it's a very, very important game. If you're a Sonic history buff like I am, this is something you may want to get your hands on. And believe it or not, I spent only $65 on this, including shipping. And this is the box for it. I don't know if this game ever came with instructions, but to prove to you that the cartridge is inside, let me take it out. And there you go. There it is, Girls' Garden. It says it'll work on an SC3000 or SG-1000. Now the SC3000, from what I heard, is really a computer version of the SG-1000. I'm not really planning on getting that. But it's a computer system that was only released in Japan. There's no way I'm going to get my hands on that, and even if I could get my hands on that, is it really necessary? And I could just get an SG-1000. So, but I wanted to show you that I have this. And so I really do have that. I'm very pleased with what I have. Now, I'm not really going to... I'm not going to collect much more now. I'm pretty satisfied with what I have. I mean, I'll certainly get a Sega Pico system down the line, and as well as maybe even an SG-1000 system. But we'll see. Now, even if I do get a Sega Pico system, the thing about the Sega Pico is that, like a lot of other systems, the Pico is region locked. That means I cannot play either of these games on an American system. I cannot play these on a Japanese system. If I can try and get my hands on a Japanese Pico system, maybe someday I will, and maybe a North American system. But, like I said, we'll see. But these games that I have right here, these Japanese games, I am very, very, very proud to own these. Especially 2 copies of Sonic Game World. Now, some of you may be asking, why did I want a Japanese system? Well, I heard on Instagram that there is a major difference between the American version and the Japanese version of Sonic Game World. What us North American kids got was an activity page. Here's what the Japanese system had. Now, I will tell you, all the pages are the same, with the exception of the activity page on the North American version, and this page. This is the casino page for the Japanese version. It has a lot of games of chance: roulette, poker, slots. And yes, there's even a bar. I'm surprised. When I turned to look at this page, I was like, wow, I was just pleased with what it had. And then I noticed there was a bar, so, you know, complete with drinks. I'm like, who puts that? It's like, who puts that in a kid's game? Well, only in Japan they would. So in the North American version, needless to say, a lot of the stuff, since this game was meant for kids ages 4 to 7. Now, if you're my age, it's still a huge deal to get. For any Sega fan, they're a big collector's item. So all of this was omitted for the North American release. So to make up for it, we got the activity page. But that's really what I'm going to show you guys. So that's what I'm going to show you. There are a few differences here and there on some of the other pages, but they're overall the same. What they wanted to do for the North American release was keep it as educational as possible for us. So we thought you thought this felt more like an actual video game. Well, this feels even more like an actual typical run-of-the-mill video game. So, but that's why I wanted to get my hands on a Japanese version, just to see how it was different from us. And I'm very pleased with what that had. Alright, but I'm also keeping in cardboard boxes, and I labeled which games will go in there, which one is which, at least for the North American stuff. So I'm going to have a copy of Tales in the Music Maker in here, as well as a Japanese copy of Sonic Game World. And I'm going to keep an American and Japanese version, especially considering that I don't have the box for the North American version of Sonic Game World. Let's put that in here. And, but really, other than that, that's what I have to. That's all I have to show you guys. Let's go back to this, see if I can have some better luck on here. 550. Okay, I'll take it. Nice little way to end that off. So that's a really nice way. So, this is Germany. So, with all that said, this is Germanname1990 speaking. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys again soon. Bye.